Veto is Valorant's new sentinel agent, and it seems like his interceptor ability can destroy everything. If you're confused about what exactly can and can't be broken, then this is the video for you, because we'll be going over every single ability in the game and testing the interactions. A few quick rules about the interceptor though. The first one is that it can be used very reactively in terms of actually activating it. So for example, if I throw this Yoru flash, the Veto can actually react to the flash appearing, activate his interceptor, and it will destroy the flash. And the other main rule to know is that it has a 20-meter range, so any ability outside of 20 meters will be completely safe from the interceptor. So we'll activate it, place the flash here. You can see the flash is fine. If it goes any closer than 20 meters, it will get destroyed. Otherwise, Riot say that the interceptor will destroy any utility that would bounce off of a player or be naturally destroyed by gunfire. But let's take a look at every single interaction. So I'll do this video alphabetically. That means we're starting off with Astra, and she's actually going to be a very simple one, as her stars themselves and then all the abilities that come out of them are completely unaffected by the interceptor. So it doesn't matter whether the star is already on the ground and advance, or if you place it down afterwards. Then it doesn't matter if you pull back the star. Any sort of ability that Astra can do will be completely unaffected by the interceptor. Only interaction that's worth taking note of here, and this will apply to all the other controllers as well, is that you can actually smoke off the interceptor and stop it from seeing anything. So if I were to place an Astra star down here and then smoke the interceptor off, any abilities that pass through right here will not be seen and therefore will not be destroyed. So you can also apply that same logic to Astra's wall as well. Next up is Breach, and he's also going to be a very simple one. In fact, I would go as far as to say that he counters the interceptor, because all of his abilities, we'll see here, whether you aftershock, whether you flash, whether you use a stun, whether you use your ultimate, all of these abilities are going to be completely unaffected by the interceptor and they can't be destroyed. Now, since his blind can't be destroyed, that even means you can actually use Breach's blind against the interceptor to blind it and stop it from seeing other abilities and let them come past. Brimstone is going to be the first agent where we see things getting deleted. So if you throw a sim beacon or if you throw a moldy, of course, those will both get destroyed. But smokes, as you can see there, are going to be completely unaffected. And then the same is going to go for his ultimate too. And in fact, you can actually use the ultimate in a pinch to destroy the interceptor. I probably wouldn't do that personally, like a massive ult for a free ability. But in case you're wondering, yes, that is possible. Chamber is up next, so you can see his main utility here. And if you let the Veto pop this, both of those abilities instantly get destroyed. And of course, if you try and place it after the fact, they will also get destroyed as well. Now, I shouldn't even have to show this, but because I know there'll be at least one person in the comments who's going to ask, there is of course no way for the interceptor to destroy either of Chamber's guns. They can't interact with that at all, but they can destroy it. For Clove, the only ability that will be destroyed is metal. Of course, for the heal, there is nothing to destroy. Same with the smoke, it's just like Brimstone's. You'll see here when the interceptor is on, if I try and throw a metal near it, the metal is just going to get destroyed. And then just for the record, Clove's ultimate is also unaffected by the interceptor. Now I've got Cypher next, and this is going to be an interesting one because some of his abilities can go invisible, and that is actually going to change how things interact with the interceptor. So first things first, I'm going to place a tripwire that is very close to the interceptor right there. I'm going to place one over here that is far away and technically within that 20-meter range for the interceptor, but it wouldn't see it invisible, if that makes sense. Same thing with the cage, I'm going to leave one on the ground next to it, and then the camera, I'm going to start off by having it invisible right over there. So you'll see now that as soon as I activate this interceptor, it will immediately destroy the tripwire that is close, and if I open my camera, it'll get destroyed as well, but if it's invisible and within the range, then it won't get destroyed. Now if it's active again and I try and place this same far trip, it will get destroyed because it's seen at first, and if you throw any cages near the interceptor as well, it will get destroyed. But of course, any cage that is already on the ground is fine, and even if you activate it, it is still fine. Now Deadlock, I think, actually gets countered by Veto pretty hard, and there are a few different things to test here. So I've got a sensor down already. I'm going to put a wall down in advanced as well. So you'll see here that if I activate this, that trap immediately goes away, and it starts destroying the wall weirdly there. It started with a small orb and then went to the big orb. Let's see, if I place the wall all the way over here now, get the interceptor down again. Okay, so I don't really understand the targeting logic there. You can see in that case, it went for some of the small orbs and then the big orb. But the first time it only broke one small orb. And then here, if it's absolutely closest to the big orb first, it will still go for one small orb and then the big orb. So you obviously saw the sensor earlier. It just got completely destroyed if it was too close. But I'm interested to see if that isn't invisible, it doesn't break. Then if he jumps and it activates, it will actually immediately break the sensor as soon as it appears, so you can sort of cancel it from stunning if you get it in a good enough position. Then of course, Deadlock's Gravnet is obviously going to get destroyed as soon as you try and throw it. And then yes, even Deadlock's ultimate, if the Veto pops the interceptor first and he gets wrapped up in the cocoon, his own interceptor is able to save him. It should be a pretty quick and easy one. You can see here, if you throw the eye anywhere near it, it gets destroyed. Prowler, immediately destroyed. These, immediately destroyed. But her Nightfall is similar to Breach's ultimate, so will be completely unaffected by the interceptor. Gekko is going to be one of the most countered agents by Veto. If we activate this, you can see Mosh, gone. Wingman, gone. Dizzy, gone. And of course, Thrash is gone as well. And Thrash will even get one shot, even though he is pretty tanky. At the very least, you can see that the globules are still there to pick up, but Gekko gets pretty hard countered by the interceptor. So Harbor's only interaction is going to be with his Clove. I'll place one down in advance over here for you to see as well. As soon as the interceptor gets activated, it'll start zapping the shield and break it. And then if you try and throw a Clove near it as well, it'll instantly get broken. But his wall doesn't get affected, so even though it has like a little orb that you can follow, that isn't going to get broken by the interceptor. Same with his Cascade, and same with his ultimate. We've got Astra now, and this is our first agent so far that has a suppression. So let's go over how suppression will interact with the interceptor. First and foremost, if we activate it and try and throw an undercut, undercut will not get destroyed by the interceptor. And even if you suppress Veto while it's already active, it won't actually turn the interceptor off. It'll just have to naturally run out. What undercut will do though is stop him from activating the sensor if it's already there. So if I undercut him here, you can see it turns pale and gets sort of disabled for a second. And then once that suppression wears off, it is then active again. As for the other abilities, obviously there is going to be nothing with the ultimate. The wall, nothing with the wall. And if I pop my Astra shields, the interceptor does nothing. The only other thing I wanted to see is if the interceptor can break the little shield bubble that spawns. And it does actually look like it. So you can see there, I'm killing Veto, and the interceptor destroys the actual little bubbles before I can. Like, I've forgotten what they're actually called in the moment, but you can see what I mean. I don't have a chance to activate my shield further as ISO because the interceptor breaks them before I can even shoot them. Jett is only going to have one ability countered by Veto, and that is going to be her smoke, although it's important to differentiate that if you place the smoke down in advance and then use the interceptor, of course the smoke stays as is, but if you throw the smoke after it's active, the cloudburst will get destroyed. But then you can updraft fine, of course, you can dash fine. I mean, what could the interceptor even do against those? And then yeah, obviously, I mean, the knives, the interceptor doesn't destroy them, and you can use the knives to kill the interceptor. Now for KO, a lot of his kit is going to be projectiles, so for the most part he is cooked. The only thing you have against Veto is if you can suppress him. The only thing you have against Veto is if you can suppress him before he activates his interceptor. So it's the same as an ISO undercut like I was showing before. When he gets suppressed, he cannot activate it, but if it is already active, it will stay active. So just to show here, Molly gets deleted, Flash gets deleted, Knife gets deleted, and even if I try and knife him from here and suppress him, that would stay active. I ran out of time, but it would stay active. Next up is Killjoy, and she does have some invisible utility as well. So it's going to be a pretty similar case to Cypher, but just in case you skip that part and only wanted to see Killjoy, I'll show off some of the same logic again. So when I start off this interceptor, anything in range or visible will immediately get destroyed. This nanoswarm is safe because it's invisible and outside of the range, but I still can use that like normal. Of course, if the interceptor is already active and you try and throw nanoswarms anywhere near, they will get destroyed. And even if you place down a lockdown, it will get destroyed by the interceptor as well. Same thing will go if the lockdown is already placed down on the ground. Mind you, I don't know how you would ever actually get the interceptor within range, but if you activate it after the fact, it will still destroy the lockdown. Neon does have one weird interaction with Veto and his interceptor, and that is going to be with her wall. So you can see here, if I throw the wall over it, it does actually destroy that little bolt that the wall follows, and so the wall will stop halfway in its tracks if the interceptor is active. So I thought that one was interesting, and then obviously the stun will get completely broken, and then there is nothing he can do to the slide, and there is nothing the interceptor can do to Neon's ultimate itself. Omen is another one of the few agents that is completely safe from the interceptor. Even though you can see his smoke travel as a projectile, that doesn't get destroyed. If I teleport, nothing happens. If I blind, the blind doesn't get destroyed. And in fact, you can even near sight the interceptor as well. Right now I can't test with the near sight specifically, but you can see it does show that effect. So I imagine other abilities would come past and wouldn't get destroyed while it is nearsighted. And in case you were wondering, I don't believe Omen ult will get broken by the Interceptor, but let's just try out and make sure. I'll ult right next to it. And no, the Interceptor can't break Omen's ultimate, but that'd be pretty funny if it could. Up next is Phoenix, and most of his interactions are pretty self-explanatory. The Flash instantly gets destroyed, Molly instantly gets destroyed, but his wall can actually go past safely right there. This does actually mean that if Veto doesn't put his Interceptor high enough, you can use the Phoenix wall to counter it. You can see right there, the Phoenix wall will damage it and break the Interceptor without getting destroyed itself. So if you can hear where it is, the wall is actually one of the few ways to reliably destroy the Interceptor without shooting it. In fact, I'm going to try that now. I'm going to look away and randomly throw this ability somewhere. I don't know where it is exactly, but I'm just going to listen, and it sounds like it's probably right around there. So I throw the wall through, and then yeah, the Interceptor is broken. I think he's about to die as well. But yeah, you can listen and throw Phoenix's wall towards the Interceptor and destroy it. Unfortunately for the Raze mains out there, she is one of the agents that gets completely dumpstered by the Interceptor. So activate it there. Boombot, gone. Nade, gone. Satchel, gone. And most importantly, ultimate, completely destroyed as well. Raze mains are in tears. For Reyna, the only ability that's going to get destroyed is her Leer. As soon as it appears, it'll get destroyed. There was even someone asking me if Reyna would get rid of the soul orbs that you use to dismiss and heal. And no, that is not going to be the case. The only thing that the Interceptor destroys is the actual Reyna eye, again, after it appears. Since Reyna's Leer is a near side though, I believe that means if you place it all the way over here, but then activate the Interceptor at the same or a similar time, I think it'll actually get nearsighted. Yes, there's a small window there where it gets nearsighted. Then you could technically use that to get other abilities past, but I'd be really impressed if you could actually pull that off. For Sage, first I want to see how quickly or slowly it destroys the wall when it's at full health. So we'll let the wall go there, and then activate the Interceptor. Goes one piece at a time really slowly, and then what about now? It destroys the first piece before it's even fully up. So it's really fast if Sage tries to place a wall after the Interceptor is already there. Then of course for the heal and res, there's going to be absolutely no interaction, and the slow will get destroyed. Skye is going to be a fairly rough one to play into Veto, but there also isn't really too much to test here. I think it's all self-explanatory. If I throw a flash, it's destroyed. If I throw a dog, immediately destroyed. Even Skye's ultimate, immediately destroyed by the Interceptor. Let's have a look at some of the different interactions for Sova here. So if I'm going to try and drone, destroyed. Shock dart, destroyed. Recon bolt, destroyed, as you would expect. The only thing you could do against Veto as a Sova is somehow try and destroy the Interceptor with his ultimate. It is going to be possible, as you can see right there. Obviously the Interceptor can't cancel his ultimate at all. So it's almost going to be a similar situation that I showed with Phoenix's wall earlier, where you can technically destroy it through a wall, like if you're trying to push onto a site. But it is going to be very hard to know precisely where it is and hit it with Sova's ult. Next up is Tejo, and you've probably noticed a pattern by now where the initiators essentially just get railed by Veto. So let's try Stealthbot. No. Stun. No. If the missile goes overhead, no, will get destroyed as well. We'll try the Interceptor here into the Tejo ultimate, see what happens. I assume it'll just destroy it. Yeah, so similar again to Sova and Brim ult, where if you really want to push it, you can use the ultimate to destroy the Interceptor. For Veto, we'll come over to Ascend, and you'll see why in a second, but first of all, for his teleport and his trap, you can see right here, if they're placed in advance and we activate the Interceptor, they're both actually gone by the look of it. And then obviously, if you try and throw the trap, or if you try and place the teleporter, those will get destroyed. And even from this range now of 19 meters, you can see the Interceptor won't quite reach that, but if I throw it, it does get destroyed. If you place the trap and it's invisible, the Interceptor won't get it out of range like the other invisible abilities. Now finally, to see what happens if two Interceptors truly see each other at the same time. So people in the live stream said to try this, rather than what I did in the myth-busting video with just clicking at the same time. We'll have them both activated, like so, and then open the door. One still will destroy the other. It's definitely not which one gets placed first. I've tested this a few times, and at least on this door, it seems like the one on this side always kills the one on this side. So yeah, maybe it was just the positioning with the door, or there is some secret logic to which one destroys the other first. But in a real game, are you actually ever going to get two Interceptors right next to each other activated at the exact same time? I doubt it. Back to Corrode now, and looking at Viper, if the orb is already on the ground and you use Interceptor, it won't get destroyed. But if you throw an orb near the Interceptor and it's in the air, it will get destroyed like you can see there. Otherwise though, Viper smokes are largely unharmed. You can see there the ultimate, nothing happens. the wall, nothing happens, but the molly will get destroyed. Now looking at Vyse, and first of all with her flash, I believe this interaction will be similar to Deadlock stun, where right now it's in range, but it wouldn't get destroyed because it's invisible. So I'll activate the interceptor, invisible, but if I press flash, yeah, the interceptor will destroy the flash before it can actually pop. So now the rest of Vyse's kit as well. The wall is going to be fine, the thorns on the ground will be fine if they aren't too close, drone thorns are dead, and of course, nothing with the ultimate. Waylay is only going to have the one negative interaction with Interceptor, and that'll be her C or Saturate. We'll throw projectiles so it gets deleted, but her dash is fine, the refract, nothing happens whatsoever, and the ultimate of course, no interaction either. Finally, that brings us to Yoru, so his clone will be treated like a player, and therefore the Interceptor does not interact with it at all, so he'll just go along and minding his own business. And then Teleport's an interesting one, since it is technically an invisible ability, you can get it a little bit closer than normal, but not too close. So if I activate it and place it right there, for example, it will get deleted, but if I did it more like that, for example, you can see it wouldn't get deleted. And it's actually going to be similar with Yoru's flash too, because if you didn't know, the first part of it is actually invisible to the enemy team. They don't see where it gets thrown from, but then it'll just appear off the wall and then blind. That means that as long as you're not too close, you can actually throw the flash past this and then potentially get it to pop on site. And last but not least, in case you're wondering as well, there's going to be no interaction between Veto's Interceptor and Yoru's ultimate.